Good morning, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy, coming to you live from Applewood Station, where it is a lovely temps to rise tomorrow. Degrees. Like, it doesn't want to tell me what the temperature is, it just wants to tell me the temperature will rise. The temperature will rise again. All right. Just like the Empire. Darth Temperature is out there. I'm like, is there any way to not make it do that? Oh, hey, an astrophysicist has claimed that he's figured out time travel. Okay. Oh, well, McDonald's is going to sell donuts. It can't possibly be good. Good morning, Brent. Have a major radio chain that declared bankruptcy. Alarming trend found among Americans without college degrees. Wait. What was that about the Great American Car Scandal, electric car scandal? The Great Electric Car Scandal is only just the beginning. Oh. Well, that's not going to do anybody any good. Although this guy is biased, but... So I've been saying this since the get-go. Hey, some user. Electric cars are going to take over. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. Electric cars have fewer parts to maintain, fewer things to break. They cost far less to operate from day to day. So they're going to take over. There's nothing you can do about it. People are fighting it. People are arguing about it. People are doing kind of the... These guys? That's my work core, man. No, I love electric cars. It's not that. It's that I just read an article saying electric cars don't have the range that they say they are. Therefore, they were complete failure. We should never have done it. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what you think. I'm saying this to the reporter who wrote the article. There's an awful lot of anti-electric car chatter out there. And it's scaring people. And the problem is it's working. It's like a lot of the things that happen in our culture right now are terrifying people. They work to scare people. You have to vote X because if you vote Y, then the world will explode. Yeah, I would go all electric tomorrow if I could. And the only real reason I can't go all electric is because I leased my car and I have to wait till the end of the lease. But this article was saying that cars were promising 300 miles and only going 250. Well, there are a lot of factors that would make an electric car go 250. Did they turn on the heat? Because that makes cars lose range. And then everybody's like, well, see, there you go. We can't use electric cars because they lose range. And I'm like, if I turn on the air conditioning on my car, my gas range goes down too. But you don't see us going, well, we can't drive gas cars. Because when you turn your AC on, gas cars no longer have the range they promised. I mean, so here's the deal, some user. I started working in my school in 2018. When I started working in my school, every class I would ask, how many of you people have an electric car at home? In 2018, there was one kid every 10 classes. Today, there are 3 kids in every class that have an electric car. That is an amazing growth. That is a seriously, seriously big growth. We've gone from, what is that, a fraction of a percent to somewhere close to about 3%. No, wait, 15%. So we've gone from 0.001% to 15% of my class in just 5 years. 7 years, I guess 7 years. But what bothers me is the propaganda. I have heard everything from electrics don't work in the cold to electrics don't work in the heat to, oh yeah, I don't know what our program does not talk about electrics at all, because there are people in our company who are those folks, the people who believe that this is all a fad and it's all created by lefties to sink money out of companies or something. I don't even know what they think. But whatever it is, they've got this huge propaganda machine going to convince people that electric cars are dangerous, they don't work, they don't do their jobs, and it's bizarre. It's really, really weird. We've had an electric car for 9 years now. It has had a filter change once. We had to have the air filter changed once, and we've gone through a couple of sets of tires. In that same amount of time, my Jetta has had 25 oil changes for $50 a piece. And of course has gone through about $150 or $200 worth of gas, depending on, somewhere between $100 and $200 worth of gas every month for 7 years. The cost of my Jetta is phenomenally higher. It did raise our electric bill here, but we've got solar panels, so that's kind of offset. But that's not what everybody has, but it raised our electric bill by about the same amount that we saved by changing all of our light bulbs in here to our LEDs. So, our electric bill was here. Then we changed all of our light bulbs to LEDs, and then it went down to here. Then we got an electric car, and it went back up to here. So here's the thing about that. There are two things. One, as someone who has an oil field, I will tell you that that oil field is absolutely barren ground. There is nothing growing in my oil field. So our family has an oil field. I can go to that oil field and walk around that oil field, and it is absolutely barren, salted earth barren. There is nothing on it. And I'm pretty sure that if you count all the square miles of oil fields out there, it probably is a little bit more than the lithium mines that are out there. So this isn't exactly better or worse. And two, they just recently figured out how to make sodium ion batteries, which means salt water. So the batteries will be made of salt water. So that's a temporary problem. It's not like we're going to get better oil. You know, there's never going to be we've discovered a new oil that doesn't use fossil fuels. You know, we've discovered a new gasoline that doesn't use fossil fuels. If they do create a new engine, it's going to require you to pull the old engine out and put a new engine in. So, like, let's say we decided to make a hydrogen engine, which there are people who've done that. There's no way your car can be just changed over to a hydrogen engine. Whereas an electric car, you just pull out the bolts and drop the battery pack out and put your sodium ion battery pack in. So it's put the bolts back in and plug it back in again, and you're good to go. So a change in batteries, you can still keep your car. If we changed from gasoline to hydrogen, you'd have to tear everything out of your car, and it's just cheaper to just throw the car away. Which means that every time we make... So the compelling argument about saving the environment by not having lithium mines is offset by the fact that you can't ever change the technology in a gas car. You'd have to throw all the gas cars away. Right? They don't wear out fairly quickly. That's the other one. We have had an EV for 9 years. We're on the same batteries. That's another one of those myths that they're perpetuating. So people think they have to pay $50,000 every year to buy new batteries. We've never changed the batteries. Never. In 9 years. Has the performance gone down a little? Yeah, it's gone from 90 miles to about 80 miles. It's not significant. The problem I've got is, this particular topic, I'm not interested in EVs because save the planet. I do like the idea to save the planet. I think it's a good idea and things like that. I think that's a great thing and we should do it. The reason I'm into EVs is it is a perfect example of negative propaganda being very effective. And it's the reason I'm going back to school to be a cultural anthropologist. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what happens is people keep associating electric cars to the things in our environment that are the same. In other words, they think electric car batteries are going to be the same as phones. They're going to burn out in like a year and you're going to have to replace them. And it'll be super expensive. And then they treat electric cars like gas cars, where you'll be driving along in your electric car, your little I'm out of battery light will turn on. You have to pull over to an electric station and then sit there and charge for 20 minutes and be completely bored. When in reality, we plug our electric cars in every night. So it's like having a little gas station inside your garage that you refill your tank up every night with. That's what real people who drive real EVs do, so they never run out of charge. In 9 years, we've used public chargers 3 times. And mostly because it was novel. There's a charger at our favorite restaurant. And for the first, I don't know, 2 years or 3 years, it was free to charge there. They've started charging now. They are costing money. So we don't use it anymore. But that's the thing that bothers me. And it's not just that. Everybody keeps saying the batteries last 5 to 10 years. I hate to say this, but the majority of Americans, and I'm not talking about the people in the rest of the world, the majority of Americans change their cars out every 5 years. It's like there's an entire market on it. My Jetta, VW keeps messaging me going, we want to buy your Jetta back. And it's like, I get that, but my Jetta is only 4 years old. And they're like, but it's getting ancient. Don't you want a new car? So American culture swaps out cars every 5 years. I don't know why people are sitting there going, but batteries will only last 10 years. People don't keep their cars for 10 years. Nobody in our culture keeps it unless you're a car person. If you're a car person, you keep your car for 10 years. Or if you're broke. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And we don't use the charging stations. Like the guy in this article was like, we just drove to the Scottish Highlands and back, and that was 400 miles. And I'm like, you don't do that every day. You do that every so often. So you rent a car. Mr. White, is that because we're in really super bright lights over here? It's hard to see down there, but there are 2 cats playing down there. I don't know if you could see them. They're in our backyard. See those 2 cats? We got 2 cats jumping on each other and stuff. Oh, Mr. White. It is probably a Breaking Bad reference. So, Brent, that's true too. I mean, that will change over time. And that's not there are 3 cats out there now. We got 3 cats out there. And I don't have any problem with that argument. But even then, we had, for a while there, we had a 300-mile EV as well. One of the ones with 300 miles of range. And it went all week. So you'd have to make a 20-minute stop every week. They put electric chargers at this King Soopers right over here. So technically speaking, you could make it your plan to go to the King Soopers, plug in at the charger, go in, do your grocery shopping, come back out, and your car would be fully charged, and then it'd go a whole week. I mean, it's not impossible. It is kind of a pain, but it's one of those things. Oh, it's changing fast right now. That's what I'm trying to say. That was what I was trying to say before. The world is changing. And there's this group of people who are like, EVs are a toy and nobody wants them. Therefore, we will do nothing to prepare for EVs. Because this problem and this problem and this problem and this problem and this problem. Meanwhile, I've gone from 0.01% of my class having EVs to 15% of my class having EVs. And what's happening is people are being jerks about it. And people are doing stuff now to actively make it difficult to get EVs. Because, of course, you've got that problem, and I totally get it. And that is your apartment complex does not have EV chargers. Well, we've had 7 new apartment complexes put in all around us. None of them put in EV chargers. Well, at this point in time, that's silly. That's ridiculous. The only reason they didn't do it was because nobody drives EVs. Well, that's a self-fulfilling prospect. If no builders will put in EV chargers, and everybody says, well, we don't do it because we don't have EV chargers, then you've managed to block EVs from taking over when they are better, cheaper, they'll be easier to use, they will take less maintenance, they may require us or allow us to keep cars for more than 5 years. The reason that cars don't last more than 5 years is after 5 years, a gas car starts to become very expensive. A gas car's engine can only last about 200,000 miles unless you really baby it. If you really, really, really baby it, then it'll last 300,000. An electric motor will last 2 million miles. So, if you think about it, yeah, you might have to change the battery pack out. And maybe you might have to change the battery pack out at 100,000 miles. And maybe the battery pack will cost $8,000. But you've saved 20,000 by moving to electric. And that's the problem. People are getting super short-sighted and getting very upset about it. And I'm sitting there going, and the whole argument is we should let the market decide, but we're not going to do anything to help the market. We're in fact going to hinder the market and make it much more complex and difficult, and start a disinformation campaign telling people that these cars are a threat and dangerous and horrible when they're not. That's the problem that I have. I don't mind if people could choose, like, Brent, you live in an apartment complex that was built in 1970. It doesn't have chargers. That makes sense. There's no problem there. I don't have any issue with that. My friend Kevin's in the same place. There's no charger there. However, there is a charger at the King Soopers down the street from my friend Kevin's house, and he could theoretically charge there. And these cars could go. I know. It sounds insane to me too, but that's the nature of the way they've made the car market here in America. They've made it so that you're changing cars out every 5 years unless you're a car person. And that is another one of those points that I'm kind of making, is that most of us are not car people. Good morning, Jan. Most of us are not car people. I mean, I am. Brent is, because Brent drives a motorcycle and wants to create a schoolie, which is an apartment in a school bus. But that means that we are interested in cars. We have an interest in cars. And the problem is that we make choices that work. Like, we would choose to keep a car for longer, or we would choose to do something out of the ordinary, or whatever. And that makes total sense. But the majority of the people in America, almost 80%, never drive more than about 20 miles a day and don't care about their car. They don't care at all. And that same 80% swaps their car out every 5 years. Exactly. They don't even change their own oil. This is an American culture thing that happens here all the time. To boot, unlike some of the other countries out there, some user, you're in Europe, Jan, you're over in the Pacific. Those cultures are different about how they handle cars. America is embedded with cars. Like, some of our states don't have sidewalks. Like, they just don't even bother with sidewalks anymore because they assume you will drive your car from your house a half a block to the store, pick up your groceries, and then drive it back a half a block to your house. I mean, I'm lucky. I live in Colorado. You can see we have sidewalks out here, which is really nice. You can see our sidewalks there. We've got lovely sidewalks and parks, but that's Colorado. Right? Most of the people you see are oil changes. And that makes sense to me. I mean, that's what most people do. Man, Mitsubishi makes some good cars. I'm about to go off into like thought processes about some of Mitsubishi's cars that they've made over the years. I am a major fan of the old 80s Starion. That Starion was a beautiful, beautiful car. Now, I'm partial. I had one. But I had the early one. I like the later ones where they put the little skirts over the wheels. Those were pretty. It was a pretty, pretty car. It's one of my favorites. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. I didn't mean to necessarily go on yeah. Let's see. I'm going to pull up one of these. Ooh, what a pretty car. Wait. Ooh. I'm not going to lie. If I could go back in time, just saying. This is such a classy car in my book. This is such a classy car. Yeah. The 100-mile range, Brent, those are actually 80. So just be aware of it. Yeah, look at that, though. Man, that is a beautiful, beautiful car. Okay, sorry. Just so you guys know, I have a love for gas cars. I have a love for electric cars. I have a love for electric trains, diesel trains, jet fuel powered jets, gasoline powered propeller planes. I don't care. If it's a machine, I love it. So I'm not partial to electrics. I just think I have never seen a disinformation campaign that was so obvious to me as what I'm seeing with electric cars, because we own one. My respective other, my connected person, whatever you want to say, who we're having troubles right now, but you get the idea, owns a Leaf and got the Leaf because she is an environmentalist and she wants to protect the earth. That's not what I would have bought the Leaf for. But 9 years ago, I said, okay, sure, why not? I don't care. As long as you don't change my car. Because, of course, I wanted my Jetta 6-speed. So we got the Leaf, and I said, it's all good because I will keep a gas car when that Leaf breaks down or explodes or all those things that people are saying electric cars do. Well, 9 years later, those electric car that Leaf has not done anything that they say that electric cars do. Yep. Right. So Brent, you are like the ideal person for an electric car because you would save all of that gas money. But it would not be very useful for you to drive across country, so you'd have to rent a car for that. And that's what I think will be the future of it is, but you have no idea. I mean, like, we went from a $200 a month budget for that car, for my wife's car's maintenance, to a $0 a month budget. That's a significant impact on our budget. And we went from 200 to 0. And whatever it was last summer or the summer before, when the gas prices almost climbed up to $5 a gallon, we just stopped driving the Jetta. And so we filled the Jetta up before the gas prices got weird, and then parked it for most of the summer and just drove the electric around all summer long. And so we weren't impacted by the gas prices. We made it so that the Jetta lasted all summer, only took it whenever we needed to in an emergency, and drove the electric car all summer long. And then, so the gas prices went to $5 and we just went shrug. I mean, it's totally okay. I don't want people to go buy electric cars. I want people to stop making lies about electric cars. That's it. The reality is, electric cars have fewer parts. They don't break as much. They don't run at as high a temperature, so they don't wear the parts out. All of these things, it's just a better vehicle all around. So you're going to end up with, by the time my kids in my school are in their 50s, woo, look at that. Is that 227 kilometers or is that 227 miles? Or 227,000 kilometers or 220,000 miles? That makes a difference. Kilos, yeah. And that's a long time. And that's another point. Electric cars are expected to last up to 3 million kilometers before they need any work on their motors. That's their expectation. Honda E-Advance. And you know what? The Honda City is not a bad car. I mean, it's not awesome, but it's not like a bad vehicle. And the Honda E-Advance is pretty cool too. I think it's funny, Jan, though, that you work at Mitsubishi and you drive a Honda. I say that because many of my friends will work at like Ford and drive Chevys. Or they work at like Nissan and drive Toyotas. And it cracks me up. Ooh, the Hilux. Yeah. That one's a good one. Yeah, I think I have been I'm not kidding, I've been poking around and looking at the Tesla Model 3s because they've got a spotty track record, but the track record problem is not necessarily in its, right? Your parking lot's full of Mitsubishis and your one Honda. That's awesome. That's fair. That's fair. But, oh yeah. So, somebody just did a repop of something. Let me see. I took notes of it. So let me look back on my notes. Because somebody is repopping a car that I really thought was pretty. I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, see, that's the kind of car. That's the kind of car. And I took note of it. And where did I? Which direction are we going here? Because somebody out there is doing a car that looks just like an 80s car. And I was like, oh man, I'm in. Because I love the 80s designs, and I always will. I mean, I can't deny it. Those 80s designs are really slick. Hey, look at you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a great thing. Go on ahead, take advantage of it. Your little Honda sits inside this wonderful shaded spot because you're a manager. I'm okay with this plan. I don't think I'm going to easily find it. I know I had seen the vehicle and said, oh man, I need that car. Now I can't remember who makes it. They're only going to make like 100 units. So it's not like they're going to, it's not going to be possible for me to get the car. However, I will ogle it and say that I love this car. But yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that, and I won't be able to find the picture either. I can tell already, because I have to cut my show early because I've got to report to, where do I have to go? I have to go somewhere at 10 o'clock. So this show has to end early today, but only because I have to be somewhere. Normally I would go for one more hour, and I would go until I like they rock like boats. You're not wrong. That's a perfectly good explanation. Like, that's good. That's a good one. Because you're right. Like, you get into those 60s cars and they're like, wee, wee. And you're just like, wee. Because the suspension is just so lousy. Yeah, for me, it will always be 80s sports cars with the squared corners and everything like that. That just looks so cool to me. And part of it is I was an 80s kid. And I was an 80s kid growing up with those cars. And so to me, that's hot cars. That's what a hot car looks like in my book, you know. And it always will. You know, just the nice wedge shape with the, you know, the very sleek squared corners. It just looks really sharp. So that's all right. Somebody was doing it. I can't remember now. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy until I figure it out. Let's see. Oh, those are actually pretty horrible. Yeah, here you are. Hyundai. That's what it is. Hyundai is going to make this retro concept. Here, I'll show you. Because I got to go, but before we go, this is what Hyundai is thinking of doing, right? It's either hydrogen or electric, one of the two. But this is their Envision 74, and it looks like, I mean, it just looks like a beautiful retro 70s or 80s car. And I'm like, see, now I would drive this. I would drive this and be happy as a clam. This thing is awesome. But, I mean, that's my style. And then they go on to other concepts, but that's all right. I admit openly that I'm an old guy who likes old 80s cars. Because like I said, I just absolutely adore the Starion. Yeah, right? Like, those are some sweet, sweet wheels. I need to make some of those for Bellatrix Rising. Like, the cars need to all be like 80s retro. Because it's my comic, and I can do whatever I want. And if I want to do retro 80s style cars, we can. So there. All right, my friends. I've got to bow out because I've got to head to a doctor's appointment, which is where I've got to go. I just looked at my alarm, and it told me I've got to be at a doctor's appointment. So, headed to a doctor's appointment. I'll be on tonight. I might be a little late. My kid is here this week, so How much has it been to fully charge your leaf? It charges overnight. So, typically speaking, I don't know. We never really check it. Oh, and cost? It raised our electric bill about $25 a month. Give or take. So, like I said, about the same that we saved by taking out all of our incandescent light bulbs in my house and replacing them with LEDs. So, in fact, I think we still are in the positive, if you will. So, yeah, it raised it about $25. Really debating the leaf. Yeah. I would recommend, if you can, to get the square box leaf over the frog-faced leaf. They put a cooling system in the square box leaf that's a little bit better for battery longevity. Yeah, look around. Let's talk a little bit more about it tonight, because I can give you some pointers on it. But either way, I've got to report into the doctor's office in about 11 minutes, so I'm going to have to bow out. I will see you all tonight, and thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful evening, and keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.